Hello EFD squad and welcome back to the UCL review with me and Ginge, where we discuss Europe's primo tournament. Today we've got tight affairs, drubbings and absolute dross. Ooh. Starting with the Chelsea-Barcelona draw, Joe. It was fascinating. It was like a game of chess played by two masters. Click.
Yes, obviously finished 1-1 at Stamford Bridge, so I would say probably a slightly better result for Barcelona, but I also thought Chelsea were really good on the day, so we'll talk about that in a little bit. But we're going to talk about first Lionel Messi finally breaking his hoodoo against Chelsea. Obviously, that was his first goal against the Blues in 9 attempts, which isn't that bad because Chelsea are a top team, but he usually scores against everyone, doesn't he? In fact, he has scored against 29 of the 35 teams he's faced in the Champions League. Like I said, I was actually quite impressed by Chelsea, especially with their defensive shape. I thought Antonio Conte set his team up really, really well. Although the couple of chances they did have, Willian, who played really well, hit the post twice, didn't he? And then he finally got on the score sheet at about 62 minutes until Lionel Messi scored, which was a disaster of a goal for Chelsea to give away. It was such a bad, sloppy bit of defending. I think it was Christensen passing the ball across, Iniesta nipping in, lays it off to Messi. You cannot give goals away like that at this level.
It felt like that was the only way they were going to get a goal.
It wasn't coming, was it?
No.
Until that horrible, horrible moment. Willian, though, I mentioned him a little bit before, I thought was the man of the match, an absolute star. 4 shots, 1 goal. Obviously hit the beans on toast twice as well. 6 out of 8 dribbles completed have gone down here. 2 tackles as well. He is, I think you tweeted it actually, didn't you? He is by far one of Chelsea's most consistent performers.
Yes, I think one of their most complete players. He's a real all-rounder.
Yeah, I mean, I think this season in the Champions League, he's averaging 0.8 goals per 90. Whew. That is absolutely incredible. I think he's getting a goal every other game in all competitions, so his form this season has been scintillating. 6 of his 9 Champions League goals for Chelsea, though, have come from outside the box. He is that sort of player that he just managed to push it 1 yard, doesn't he? Fire off, and whatever position he's in, wherever he managed to get that touch away, you always feel like the shot's going to go on target.
Quick off the mark.
Yeah, obviously 2 hit the post twice, like I said, and then scored as well. Since joining the Blues in 2013, he's scored more Champions League goals from outside the box than anyone else in the competition. That's more than Cristiano Ronaldo and Neymar, who both have 5. But Conte still a little bit disappointed, rightly so, because he lined his team up perfectly. He got the crucial goal, but then the sloppy mistake cost him. He went out saying, we were close to putting in the perfect performance. Literally, they were 20 seconds away from it, I would say.
Yeah, and when they pulled out to that wide shot, you could see how regimented Chelsea really were, couldn't you? They very quickly went from that 3-4-3, the hallmark of Antonio Conte's reign, to a 5-4-1, defended very compactly, brilliant, but only had 27% possession. Not exactly conducive to holding out across the 90 minutes. But they did outshoot Barcelona 11-7. They were testing Ter Stegen from distance, weren't they? Both teams ultimately getting 2 shots on target. Luis Suarez was under wraps.
I know.
He was a Boots meal deal in this game.
Mate, fair play to Chelsea's
He did not get a sniff. Azpilicueta was up him like a badger.
It was like a completely different Chelsea backline, because when they played against West Brom and against Bournemouth, they were so exposed. And these are teams that you don't expect to be exposing Chelsea backlines to that quality.
No, and it was Christensen's mistake that led to the goal, but ultimately he has been pivotal to them this season and showed a lot of composure in this game until that ill-fated pass. But Barcelona have conceded now in each of their 7 visits to the Bridge in the Champions League, only winning 1 game, drawing 2 and losing 4. Their only win came way back in February 2006. Very contentious game that was as well, wasn't it? Messi's now scored 18 in 27 appearances against English sides in the UCL, 9 against Arsenal.
Well done, Wenger.
Including 8 in his last 5, so that shows no sign of letting up the GOAT. And that is the best record against English sides of any player currently playing in the competition, or otherwise, I think, because I've got down here Cristiano Ronaldo's got 11 since he went to Madrid. Muller's got 9. It's pretty impressive from Muller. I think he only got 5 goals last season.
Yeah, but that's because they all come against Arsenal.
And Rivaldo, what a throwback.
Oh,
the bow-legged maestro. But yes, Chelsea are now the 71st club that Messi has scored against. He's only failed to score against 11 teams. What a question on Stat Wars that would be. Get that submitted for next week.
Yeah, that's actually unbelievable.
Absolute. I get 0 then. Slight concern for Barca regarding Suarez's form in the Champions League. He may have 10 in 12 in La Liga, but he's failed to score now in nearly 900 minutes in Europe's Primo. That's the longest drought in his career. His last goal was against PSG in March 2017.
Jesus.
And like Lampard said after the game, I think a lot of Chelsea fans will feel like this is an opportunity missed to perform so well and then still leave the bridge with Barcelona having that very narrow advantage. It's going to change the mentality for that game at the Camp Nou massively, isn't it?
Yeah, especially with really tough fixtures coming up. I think they've got Man United and Man City in consecutive weeks in the Premier League as well.
Stinky. Talking of stinky, let's move on to Bayern, who absolutely dispatched Besiktas.
Ponged out the Allianz. Like Hamill said, we're moving over to the Allianz, where Bayern Munich pumped Besiktas full of lead.
Are you coming to the Allianz? It was a rout. Embarrassing. Let's move on. Anyway.
Like Hamill said, we're going to the Allianz now, where Bayern Munich pumped some Turks on Tuesday. That's right, the Besiktas boys got kebabbed 5-0.
Absolutely blitzkrieged. Insert more national stereotype. 5-0 it was, which is a shame. I wanted Besiktas to come out of this with something. Captured the imagination, haven't they? With their online banter. Anyway, Bayern have now equalled their longest ever winning run on 14 games. Jupp Heynckes up to his old tricks. Besiktas did have a couple of early chances through UEFA Cup legend Wagner Love and Ricardo Quaresma, who's having a bit of a renaissance in Turkey. Isn't he? But after Croatian defender Domagoj Vida, who only joined the club recently, was sent off, it was one-way traffic.
Foregone conclusion.
FCB, 20 attempts in the first half alone. That is absolute filth. I think that is the second most attempts in a first half ever after Bayern Munich versus Viktoria Plzen.
Absolutely
who
embarrassing.
Sound like a dessert from M&S.
Embarrassing.
But it took until the 43rd minute to open proceedings. Thomas Muller getting in with a toey at the front post. And then the floodgates opened second half with 4 goals. One more from Muller, Koeman and Lever getting a brace. Bayern totally dominant in this game, as the scoreline reflects. 69% possession, 35 shots versus 6, 12 on target to 1. Lever was probably the star in the final third though. 2 goals, 1 assist, 5 shots, 2 on target, and he hit the bar to the pole, having an absolute field day. Kingsley Coman running riot down the wing as well. 4 shots, 3 coming on target, 1 goal with a 94% pass act, which is incredible for someone with his responsibilities. 4 out of 6 dribbles completed, and a tackle for good measure.
Oh, well done, Kingsley, mate. At least you put it in the hard yards.
Front 3 of Muller, Lever and Koeman scoring 5 goals, providing 2 assists, and having 16 shots between them. That's where the damage was done. Besiktas didn't really stand a chance given those 3 were in such fine fettle. Joe, break it down for me though. What happened to the old Turks?
The old Turks indeed, because their average age was sky high in this one. It was actually the oldest Champions League squad for 6 years, with an average age of 31.5. In fact, 8 of the starting 11 were over the age of 30. And if you take Talisca, who's 24 out the side, their youngest player is 28. So they pretty much put all of their eggs in one basket, and that basket has gone to rat. Bayern Munich, though, they are unbeaten in the last 61 games in which Thomas Muller has scored in. Let's talk a little bit about Thomas Muller, because he does it so consistently, doesn't he? He's now scored 42 Champions League goals in just 96 games. That's joint 14th in the competition's history. But who's it joint 14th with? Do you know?
No.
Do you know? Let us know in the comments if you do, because that is a properly hard question. He's now scored in 8 consecutive seasons. Like I said, he is just the model of consistency. I think only Messi and Ronaldo have scored more goals in knockout games than the big
impressive.
German.
Big game player.
Really big game player. In fact, Bayern Munich as a whole are kind of a big game team, especially under Jupp Heynckes. They've actually won 20 of their past 21 home Champions League games. I think the last time they lost was against Madrid, wasn't it, when they lost 2-1?
Only one team has been in more semi-finals than Bayern Munich. Who is it? Let us know in the comments below. All sorts of trivia.
Little bit of quiz in this section. But Bayern Munich also have the luxury, let's not forget, of being 19 points clear in the Bundesliga. So that's effectively sewn up, meaning they can put all of their eggs into one basket in the Champions League. I actually think they stand a fairly good chance of getting to the final under Jupp Heynckes.
What is it with you in baskets today?
I don't know. I've been talking about eggs in baskets
case.
a lot, haven't I? But do you guys at home think that FCB can go all of the way and win the competition? Where are they going to get to? Let us know your thoughts down there.
And go and watch Personal Mastermind with Thomas Muller.
Yeah, and answer the questions for the quiz bit. So lots of things to do.
Last and least, it's Manchester United who just about scraped a ball draw against Sevilla, didn't they?
Yeah.
Heard you watch this pretty steaming, you absolute lad.
I didn't watch it at all, I'll be honest. It was in the background on the pub.
Eyes in different postcodes.
Yeah, I don't know where I was last night, but I promise you, I did not write this section. I don't know how it's made it in. Basically, it's made it in because David De Gea was producing scenes yet again. Obviously, his stunning save in the first half. I think it was from Luis Muriel.
Yes.
I don't know how he has managed to do it.
Unbelievable.
Without him, there's no way this game would have been 0-0. He made 8 saves. That's the most of any United goalkeeper in the Champions League since Van der Sar in the final in 2011. 8 saves against Sevilla, although this was United's 9th clean sheet in their last 11 games and 23rd in all competitions this season. Basically, that's all down to De Gea. We concede so many shots, it's obscene. I think we concede like the 8th most in the league or something.
I mean, you've spent about 200 million on forward talent, but he's going to be your player of the year again.
Almost definitely. But this was our first Champions League knockout game in 4 years, and going forward, like you said, we might have spent £200 million, but we offered sweet all going forward. I think Romelu Lukaku blasted a volley about 35 yards over the bar early doors, and that was the best it got.
Straight into the Atlantic.
Rashford also had like a 40-yard free kick, went about 2 yards wide, and I remember a few people in the pub going, oh, and I was like, what's happened? What's happened? But other than that, Sevilla basically dominated proceedings, didn't they? 57% possession, 25 shots. Like I said, United do concede a fair few of them. They had 8 on target. Luckily, we had God in goal. We've actually only faced more than 25 shots on one other occasion this season. That was obviously against Arsenal when I think they had about 86, something like that. It was an absolute murdering. Although we are conceding like 12 shots a game, which is nowhere near good enough for a top team. No. And at the other end, we're not much better. We've actually had just 17 shots on target in our last 5 matches combined. What is going on? That's 3.4 a game. Man City are averaging 8 a game. And you wonder why we're struggling to score goals. It really, really puzzles me why Sanchez has been brought to play on the left if that displaces Martial. Get the front three of Martial, Lukaku, Sanchez. Get a midfield three of Pogba, Matic and Herrera. And just stop f***ing about, Jose. I've had enough of his banter, mate. Honestly, it's ridiculous. He finally plays a midfield three and McTominay's in there.
I love it that he benched Pogba and then Pogba had to come in after 17 minutes and you were still gash. I think Liverpool are only facing 9 shots per game and they have a suspect defence, don't they? Say no more, because, you know, we worked with them the other day. Spoiler alert, and they were lovely lads. Anyway, big talking point, as I said, Paul Pogba left on the bench. And he was taken off after 66 minutes against Newcastle. T'other week, wasn't he, as well? Missed the game against Huddersfield with illness. And then found himself on the bench for Sevilla. Like you said, clearly something is going on behind the scenes. Mourinho either trying to get the best out of him by chastising him, dropping him, or they have just genuinely fallen out. And I know Mourinho has to sign the new contract, but falling out with a £90 million asset, for me, can only really go one way. In a similar fashion to what happened with him at Chelsea after he fell out with Eden Hazard. But, you know, hopefully that won't be the case, Manchester United fans. However, Pogba did come on, like we said, following an injury to Herrera to partner Scott McTominay in midfield, who started instead. He's the 4th youngest Englishman to start for Manchester United in the UCL after Rooney, Neville and Philip Jones.
Mate, fair play to Scott McTominay. I know that he's obviously not at Pogba's level, but his development has been really, really good. He's a tidy player in central midfield for us. Yeah, he's obviously not going to be a superstar, but he could be a really good sort of squad player, sort of Darren Fletcher style player for Manchester United.
Okay, Darren Fletcher, chronically underrated player.
I'd be happy with Darren Fletcher out of
Dodgy Bowles. Anyway, this was United's 22nd goalless UCL game, a record they now share with AC Milan. But, you know, you've spent a lot of time in the competition now, as have AC Milan, so that's probably quite misleading. Probably should have just struck that one from the record. But ultimately, this was a pretty dire game, other than De Gea being his usual cat-like self. Difficult night for Alexis Sanchez. You mentioned him before. He was fouled 6 times. That's the second most in a UCL game this season. He didn't have a single shot and he lost the ball 5 times. We know he loses the ball quite a lot. You forgive him for it as fans, don't you? Because he progresses play so much when he does get it right. But I think despite the lacklustre performance, United will be fairly confident bringing them back to Old Trafford.
I'm not confident. I'm not confident.
You had a great run there under Mourinho, though, didn't you, in terms of being beaten? Turned it into a bit of a fortress. I think that mentality may help. I hope you go out.
Oh.
So, guys, that was the UCL review. We'll be back with the next round of games. Thank you for watching. Joseph, what should the fine people do until that moment?
We've got a bit of Statty Wars action after the major up on the weekend. That's a double upload this week. There's also a top 10 going live on Football Daily today. And also hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, follow us on Twitter, get involved in the conversation and see if you can answer those quiz questions.
Yeah, and like I said, check out Personal Mastermind on FDFC. Fuller, Winks.
Miller.
Miller.
Bye.